There is so much awful advice out there when it comes to Google Ads, and following this awful advice is probably the reason why your e-commerce brand has just stopped growing, or it has never even grown in the first place. Now, even if you have a positive ROAS at the moment and you think everything is going as planned, the harsh truth is if you weren't using any of this incorrect advice, your ROAS would be much higher. Let's start off with the first outdated tip, and this is staying away from standard shopping campaigns. Now, before we continue any further with this outdated tip, I want to take you inside my Google Manager account, which is basically where I handle all of my clients under my Google Ads agency or marketing, and just show you the sheer amount of standard shopping campaigns we have implemented to this day. These are the kinds of return on ad spends we're seeing across multiple different ad accounts, across multiple different brands themselves. And this is the reality. These kinds of results are still possible to this day from standard shopping campaigns. If you're not getting these kinds of results with standard shopping, most likely you're probably not using the right kind of approach to them, because yes, they do work well, but no, they do not work well on their own. With the proper approach, standard shopping campaigns can give you so much more control than any other campaign type out there, and they can be some of the most steady, most profitable campaign types out there. But this brings us to the outdated tip number 2, which you should not be listening to, which is setting a target ROAS based around your margins. Now, this most likely has to do with your performance max campaigns, because these are the most common campaign types where so many e-commerce store owners just set a margin or a target ROAS percentage based on how their store should be performing. So if their break-even ROAS, for example, is a 2x, they will come in here to the settings, they will change the bidding, and they will add a target ROAS percentage of maybe 200% or maybe 210%, and so on and so forth. This is one of the most outdated and useless tips you could be using for your ad account. Here's why. Google Ads, specifically performance max campaigns, work off of data. If you're not getting data that supports this number, there's no amount of number changes that you could do. There's no amount of little fancy tricks you could do to make this number happen. It's just not gonna perform. And truth be told, Google does not give a rat's behind about your margins. All it cares about are 3 different things. Number 1, how much Google Ads can make from you. Number 2, how well of service you provide to Google's users, meaning those people that go on Google to shop. Number 3, what do you as an e-commerce brand bring to the table? Do you have a proper foundation in place, or are you just on Google to make some quick bucks? These are 3 major things which ultimately determine what your ROAS is going to be. Right here, for example, we have no target ROAS set within this campaign. It's only running at £15 a day budget. But if we go to the overview section and just change it to look at the ROAS, we can see it's running at a 9x ROAS, and we have not even set a target ROAS percentage here. Now, on the contrary, if we had set a target ROAS percentage of 200%, there's a very good chance that this ROAS number, it would actually be around 200%, maybe 300% or so. And that's because Google technically likes to follow directions, because the algorithm, it's a machine, it's not a person. So keeping that ROAS number in mind, whatever you give it, it's going to try to aim around it, especially if there is no previous data to support it. So stop listening to the outdated tip that you need to set a target ROAS based around your margins. It's not going to get you anywhere. This third outdated tip, if you do it as well, it's also not going to get you anywhere, which is running SKAGs campaigns. One thing I used to always recommend in the past is SKAGs, which essentially stands for single keyword ad group search campaigns. This essentially meant that the search campaigns we would be launching here, they would be targeted just towards one specific keyword, rather than targeting multiple different keywords, or rather than having like a dynamic search campaign, for example. The best approach would be the one that's more singular, that's more targeted, which a SKAG campaign would provide, because essentially you would be only targeting one keyword in there. But unfortunately, no longer SKAGs are working. Search campaigns are performing the best with exact match or phrase match, and not performing too well with SKAGs campaigns. So stay 10 feet away from them unless you want to test it and potentially lose money. This brings us to the 4th outdated tip, the performance max campaign plus a low bid shopping campaign. Now, to kind of elaborate a bit more on this, there was a strategy I used to heavily recommend in the past, which was the high bid, low bid shopping campaign strategy, which basically said that you should have one shopping campaign with a fairly high bid, a decent bid, and another shopping campaign with a very, very low bid of 10 cents. And the motive behind this strategy was to get majority of the sales from that high bid campaign, but to get the lost sales through this low bid campaign. And that worked wonders with that standard shopping campaign approach. Don't get me wrong, but unfortunately, the performance max campaign, low bid campaign strategy just does not work. And that's because with a performance max campaign, it's designed to kind of work off of data. It's designed to take the whole day to basically spend all of that budget. And within that short period of time where the budget has been fully spent, it could be at 10 p.m. at night, it could be at 11 p.m. at night. Now, the low bid campaign now has priority to start spending, because keep in mind the way Google Ads campaigns work is performance max is at the very top of the funnel, and then below that is a standard shopping campaign. And it doesn't matter what priority you set your standard shopping campaign at, a PMax campaign will always be a higher priority. But as we can see right here, within the last 30 days, this PMax campaign has been running at the very top. It has gotten 72 sales at a 3x ROAS, but the low bid campaign, which is this one, a standard shopping campaign, it has got 0 sales, and it has spent a decent amount of money, about $69. So stay away from this. It's not gonna cut it anymore in 2023 and onwards. But this brings us to the last outdated tip on the list, the profitable first sale strategy, which essentially says you need to be profitable starting from that first sale. It does not matter if you're a newer ad account. It does not matter if for the last 50 days you have been breaking even or you have been losing money. None of that matters. This approach tells you you need to be profitable from day number 1. Otherwise, something's wrong with your Google Ads campaigns, or Google Ads isn't the right fit for your brand. And this is one of the worst outdated tips I've heard of yet. That's simply because this no longer applies in 2023 with the sheer amount of increase in competition. The alternative approach to this is offering a very, very good offer in the beginning, potentially a losing offer that loses money for you just to get that data trickling in. This kind of offer could be something like buy one, get 3 free, or buy one, get the second one at 75% off. Just something absolutely insane, which is bound to lose you maybe a little bit of money or maybe even just breaking even. But the main approach here is to make your ad account get data. The important part here is you start getting enough data from this offer so that maybe a week in or maybe 2 weeks in, you can completely get rid of this offer, shut it off. But now you have that data to work with, and now you can use that data to run ads to a normal offer you would normally be offering. This is one of the most hidden and unused strategies out there, and it works wonders, trust me, especially if your ad account is not getting any traction. But again, if you're doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com and just book a free call. It's free, and we can see if we can potentially work together to scale your brand with Google Ads to the next level. But I want you to watch this video right here on a case study of how I scaled an e-commerce brand to over $300,000 every single month just with Google Ads alone.